Hello and welcome to Business 360. I'm Shireen Bhan, coming to you live from the CNBC-TV18 HDFC Sky election headquarters. The big headlines that we're capturing on the election verdict today. The stock markets recover half of yesterday's losses as the bulls regain lost ground. The sensex gains over 2,300 points. All sectoral indices end in the red. Brokerages turn cautious on capex-driven stocks after the election verdict, but majority remain bullish on India's long-term prospects and expect reforms to continue. NDA leaders gather in Delhi for the government formation talks. Chandrababu Naidu pledges support to the alliance. JDU leader and Bihar Minister Ashok Chaudhary says they expect more cabinet berths. Both parties are demanding special status and financial assistance for their respective states of Andhra Pradesh and Bihar. Sharad Pawar, Akhilesh Yadav, Abhishek Banerjee, M.K. Stalin and Uddhav Thackeray will be in Delhi for the India Bloc meeting. Sharad Pawar says there has been no decision yet within the coalition on reaching out to Nitish Kumar or Chandrababu Naidu. The Union Cabinet recommends the dissolution of the 17th Lok Sabha. Prime Minister Modi tenders his resignation to the President, who asks him and the Cabinet to continue in office till a new government is formed. After filing papers with the regulators, Birla Group's Hindalco shelves its IPO plans for Novelis, says it will evaluate the timing for the public offer in the future. The billion-dollar IPO was anticipated to be the largest ever by an Indian company in the US. Shots fired inside the US embassy in Lebanon. The gunman has been reportedly wounded. Benjamin Netanyahu says Israel is prepared for strong action near the border with Lebanon. The attack on Gaza continues, with 75 people being killed in the last 24 hours. No breakthrough in the ceasefire talks yet. UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak and Labour leader Keir Starmer face off in their first TV debate ahead of the July 4th election, spar over taxes, health service and immigration in a heated debate.
We are in NDA. I am going for NDA meeting. In course of time, anything will report.
अगर यूपी में जो तय हो जाएगा इस लाइन पर हम जाएंगे अभी हमने भर्ती नहीं की.
We don't backstab anyone. It's not our history. It's not our history.
That's lovely, sir.
Whether we lose, win, but once we give the word, we keep the words.
All the leaders of the India Alliance will be meeting today and making decisions about what the future course is going to be. Many thanks.
Hectic parleys in New Delhi. A day after the election results, the NDA has begun government formation talks. Opposition leaders will also get into a huddle. But before we bring you the day's political updates, let's talk about the stock markets. After losing over 5% yesterday, the Sensex and the Nifty recovered over 3% today. Today's intraday recovery, in fact, is the biggest recorded on Dalal Street. All sectoral indices ending in the green. Prashant is standing by now to wrap up the day's market action. Prashant, the last 24 hours, what a day it turned out to be yesterday, with the markets being extremely volatile and the manner in which we saw stocks selling off across the board. And similarly today, the ferocity of the recovery.
You know, what a week we've been having, Shireen, right? I mean, it's just one of those which I think we will not forget for a long time. And, you know, the funny thing is, if you take where we ended today as and compare it to Friday's close, so the week so far, I mean, guess what? The change is zero. Nothing. I mean, you're absolutely flat. It's as if, I mean, these 2 days did not happen. But, well, they did happen, and we did live through them. So just take a look at what's happened on Monday, Tuesday, and today. The graphic should come up on your screen. 3% pop after the exit poll results, a 6% slide on Tuesday, and a 3% recovery today. I mean, of course, point decimal something, but I mean, that's a broad picture. And that's why for the week so far, it's nothing at all as far as the frontline indices are concerned. For today, let me just come to the point. So 3%, 3.25% higher in the Nifty Bank staging a sort of decent recovery. And 4% pop on the Nifty Bank as well. Private banks led. And, what's happening is sector rotation. But before that, mid caps and small caps also saw, sort of smart comebacks. We had 3.5%, 4% recoveries on both the mid and the small cap part of the market. Sector churn. So public sector, which has been the leader in any rally, PSUs were front and center. Now, that was not the case. So it was metals today, it was private banks, it was autos, and there was some follow through in some of these FMCG names, consumer sort of facing names. And I think it's mostly to do with, people trying to look for ideas where, it's not exactly valuations for staples, etc., are very cheap, but I think price performance has been subpar for a long time. So it's that more than anything else. CPSC, the PSC Bank Index, was up about 2%. But, given the scale of moves today, it really is at the bottom of the list in terms of what did well. There were only two losers on the Nifty. So it was a broad-based up move. Adani Ports, Indusint, Hindalco, Tata Steel, Mahindra & Mahindra. There was Hero MotoCorp, Adani Enterprises, Shriram Finance, Bajaj Finserv, Tata Consumer, Kotak Bank. It basically is everything up kind of a day after everything down kind of a day. So there's some sort of upward correction to that is what we saw. Broad list of volume-led gainers today. And it's been a very high volume week so far, every day, in a way kind of sort of, topping the previous one. IDEA had lost 20% yesterday. It came back about 12-13% today. Adani Green, JSW Energy, some of these power names were back in focus. And as I was talking about consumer-facing names, right? ABFRL, Heritage Foods. There's, of course, that political angle as well. Imami, Jyoti Laboratories, Radico, Bector, BKG, Dodla Dairy, V-Mart, Honasa, just to give you a flavor of what did well in the broader market, in the consumer sectors as well. Nalco, Prestige, KNR Construction were some of the others which participated in the upside. So as I said, a broad-based recovery after a very broad and sort of powerful sell-off on the other side. I think all eyes still very much on the politics of it, the swearing in, the cabinet formation. I think, we've had a big recovery, and I think maybe from here till at least the cabinet formation, etc., is done, we get a more settled kind of a move, because the frenzy, the immediate aftermath of the sell-off and the recovery, I think, is done with today's price action. Back to you, Shri.
Well, thanks very much, Prashant. Yes, it is going to be a long week as well as we look at what happens from here on. The big meetings taking place today, and of course, government formation speculation is that perhaps by the end of the week, we could see a swearing-in ceremony take place. Now, third successive win for the NDA, but the lack of an absolute majority for the BJP has pitchforked two veteran politicians and coalition-era kingmakers into the national scene. TDP Chief Chandrababu Naidu and JDU Supremo and Bihar Chief Minister Nitish Kumar. The BJP-led National Democratic Alliance securing 293 of the 543 seats in the recently held Lok Sabha elections, which places them comfortably above the magic number, that's 272. However, the BJP tally fell from 303 to 243. That's well below the absolute majority. Now, this has further bolstered Nitish Kumar's position within the NDA, as the support of the JDU is crucial to the government's formation. TDP's impressive Lok Sabha tally in Andhra Pradesh also gives Chandrababu Naidu bargaining power. Both leaders in Delhi for a meeting at the Prime Minister's residence. On the other side, the NDA, including Chirag Paswan, Eknath Shinde, Jayant Chaudhary, Pawan Kalyan and Ajit Pawar will be present. We're not sure yet on Pawar's attendance. Well, interestingly, Nitish Kumar, known for his political flip-flops, was on the same flight as India ally and RJD leader Tejasvi Yadav as they both flew into Delhi to attend separate meetings. The JDU won 12 of the 40 Lok Sabha seats in Bihar. Tejasvi's RJD, which is part of the India alliance, secured 4 Lok Sabha seats. Nitish broke ties with the RJD just this January for the second time in 8 years. JDU leader and Bihar Minister Ashok Chaudhary says they expect more cabinet berths.
कंप्लीटली सपोर्ट कर रहे हैं एनडीए
मीटिंग में जा रहे हैं एनडीए की मीटिंग में
एनडीए की मीटिंग में जाकर भी
और इतने बड़े व्हाई यू आस्किंग दिस क्वेश्चन ये इतने बड़ा मैंडेट बिहार के जनता ने एनडीए को बिहार में दिया है। एनडीए की सरकार बनेगी, एनडीए के साथ हम लोग हैं। बिहार में जनता ने इतने बड़ा मोहर लगाया है, हम लोग के डिसीजन पर इतना बड़ा विक्ट्री दिया है बिहार में।
Definitely the whole Bihar, as far as Bihar citizens are concerned, they are thinking that they are going to get better like special status, major financial assistance from center. That is going to happen and the state will benefited by that. So definitely this time the expectation of party is also there, and the leader must be having a thought of this, that he should get more seats in cabinet.
Well, that's the JDU. After spending half a decade in political wilderness, Chandrababu Naidu is back in the political limelight. The TDP storming back to power in the state of Andhra Pradesh. Naidu held a press conference this morning and said that the TDP is firmly with the NDA. Remember, Naidu was part of the NDA when the NDA was in power in 2014, but he quit the alliance ahead of the 2019 general elections. Here's what he had to say.
I've seen so many political changes in this country. We are in NDA. I am going for NDA meeting.
Very strong and a world-class capital for the state of Andhra Pradesh, and we would require centre's support in that. Earlier also, in 2014 to 2019 term, initially Mr. Prime Minister Sri Modi ji was the one who has, laid the foundation stone for Amaravati. So we definitely want to have a very strong capital. That's our first and foremost thing.
Well, that was the TDP spokesperson on what the new government will need from the centre to build a new capital in Amravati. Chandrababu Naidu had initiated the plan to build that new capital after the bifurcation of Telangana in 2014. But after he was voted out of power, the new government under Jagan Reddy abandoned those plans. Now, with Naidu back in the saddle, several Andhra-based companies were buzzing on Dalal Street today. Nigel is standing by with more details. Nigel.
KCP, that stock was buzzing in trade because Mr. Chandrababu Naidu is set to become CM for the fourth straight time. So what are the markets expecting? They're saying since the TDP is back in power, well, they're expecting development of Amravati to return to the fore. Remember, that was the big plan the previous time when they were in power. So they're hoping this time around as well, Amravati gets importance. Because, from when Mr. Reddy, Jagan Reddy took over, they had 3 capitals out there. And earlier, the street was expecting only 1 capital. So the importance of Amravati got diluted in the last tenure. They're saying going ahead, hopefully, there will be a revival of that capital plan. KCP, their business model involves primarily cement as well as sugar. Smaller segments are hotel and heavy engineering segment. The total capacity is around 4.3 million tons, and we're putting a value to it. You value it at $50, you value it at around $60 on a per ton basis. Just for the cement business, you get a valuation of close to around 1,800 to around 2,100 crores odd. That's only for one division. The entire company today are getting at around 1,800 crores of a valuation. Today, it moved up a little bit, so that 1,800 crores will look more like 2,000 crores odd. How do you get that number? They have around 500 crores of cash. So you deduct it from the market capitalization. Besides the cement business, they're also sitting on a lucrative sugar business, which is in Vietnam. They have more than 67% stake in that company, and it generates revenue of around 1,100 crores or thereabouts, and also good EBITDA of close to around 200 plus crores. The next company we're looking at is JSPL. That's because their promoter entity, Mr. Navin Jindal, went ahead and he won the Lok Sabha election. Besides the political, tailwind, so to call it, even fundamentally things are looking up for them. They're increasing capacity by more than 60%. They're saying that, yes, they're going to be incurring a capex of close to 31,000 crores odd, but they're going to keep their net debt to EBITDA number under check. And also they're focusing on margins because higher amount of captive coal, more amount of value-added steel, and also they're looking at the slurry pipeline. So put all that together, that will help their margins in the time to come. And finally, IMFA. That one as well was up by close to around 10%. You have Mr. Jay Panda, who won the seat in Odisha, and now you have both the centre and the state that will be under the BJP rule in Odisha itself. Mr. Subrakant Panda, well, he's the promoter of IMFA, and he's the brother of of Mr. Panda, who won the election yesterday. And there are fundamental triggers as well. Political aside, you also have fundamental triggers. They're expanding their ferrochrome capacity by 40%. The chrome ore prices are firm. They have captive chrome ore, so that will help them. And finally, they're expecting around 220 crores odd owing to that compensation on a coal block. Put all this together, these stocks were buzzing in trade today.
Nigel, many thanks. Now, leaders of the India Bloc are in the capital as well to discuss the future course of action after the Lok Sabha election results. NCP's chief, Sharad Pawar, held a press conference when asked about talks with TDP and the JDU. Pawar said that he hasn't spoken with either of them yet. He added that the alliance will have to take a call on this matter. Trinamool Congress Abhishek Banerjee in Delhi for the talks after Mamata Banerjee's party delivered an impressive performance in Bengal, winning 29 out of the 42 seats. Abhishek himself won the Diamond Harbour seat by a margin of over 7 lakh votes. MK Stalin also in the capital. The DMK registered a strike rate of 100% in the 2024 Lok Sabha elections, winning all contested seats. That's a repeat of their 2019 performance. Uddhav Thackeray will also be present for the meeting. His party outperformed the Eknath Shinde-led Shiv Sena in the Lok Sabha polls.
आप चंद्रबाबू नायडू से बात करेंगे, नीतीश कुमार से बात करेंगे?
नहीं, क्योंकि ये इशू अगर ये नीति में जो तय हो जाएगा इस लाइन पर हम जाएंगे। अभी हमने भर्ती नहीं की।
या कुछ बात नहीं करेंगे?
देखिए बात भी सब बात लोगों की नमस्कार प्रणाम दुआ हुई और क्या, लेकिन बाकी क्या होता आगे आगे देखते रहिए।
इस लोकतंत्र का सबसे बड़ा संदेश है यही कि जनता ने, खासकर उत्तर प्रदेश की जनता ने लोकतंत्र को बचाने के लिए, संविधान को बचाने के लिए और आरक्षण को बचाने के लिए वोट दिया है।
इंडिया ब्लॉक की मीटिंग में जा रहे हैं अखिलेश जी?
मैं मीटिंग में जा रहा हूँ।
आप मीटिंग, कुछ और जिम्मेदारी दी गई है आपको?
नहीं, मुझे कोई जिम्मेदारी नहीं। मुझे केवल भारतीय जनता पार्टी को उत्तर प्रदेश में हराना था। उसमें समाजवादी कार्यकर्ता, नेता और जनता का मैं धन्यवाद देता हूँ।
Big takeaway from this election is that it was a vote against the BJP government. Their numbers have fallen sharply and no party has been given a mandate to form a government. What will happen in the future, I don't know, but it will be a coalition government. Until the India Alliance meets and we all discuss what are the options, what are the final numbers, what combinations will work, stability for the future, as well as what's best for the country. That decision will be taken after full consultation with all members of the India Alliance.
We don't backstab anyone. It's not our history. It's not our history.
That's lovely,
we
sir.
Whether we lose, win, but once we give the word, we keep the words. And this is not the history of our friends. That is what the difference between then and now. We have to establish a character.
Right.
Character of a person, character of the party. What type of party it is, where it believes. Do they believe in Constitution of India? And that is what, the corrupt mentality. Now I feel the culture is being corrupted now. The culture of political culture, the social culture, you can say the economic fabric, it has already been corrupted now. It's all corrupt practices have been adopted.
It's a clear mandate which says that BJP's divisive politics and the politics of creating fear in the minds of people is not acceptable. Like every other Indian, I also hope for a change in the center, but I think it's a very big decision, and even the Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu has gone for the meeting today.
Well, leaders of the India Bloc there, Parikshit joins us now to take us through what we can expect. Parikshit, meetings going on thick and fast. Of course, the Prime Minister has tendered his resignation as per protocol, and Rashtrapati Bhavan has accepted that. Any indication on what we can expect over the next few days?
Well, it seems that the government the NDA government would like to go in for the swearing-in ceremony as soon as possible. And according to some reports, it could happen over the next 3 to 4 days by the end of this week. Yes, the Prime Minister and the Council of Ministers have tendered their resignation. This is a formality till the time the new government is sworn in. But we've had some very crucial meetings and visits to the national capital. Nitish Kumar coming in and saying that NDA ki sarkar banegi. TDP, Chandrababu Naidu also saying that we'll form a government with the NDA. But of course, things will remain tense till the time the actual swearing in and the allocation of portfolios takes place. And the reason is this: both the TDP and the JDU want to get their pound of flesh. Both the parties are well aware and are sending out the message that we have performed well and you are forming the government because of us. The JDU, in fact, we spoke to a top JDU minister, the rural minister of Bihar, Ashok Chaudhary, and he clearly said that it is time for the government to give Bihar the special status and financial assistance. Things were different in 2019 when we were only offered one seat, when the BJP had performed very well and they did not need us. But this time, JDU has performed well, and the NDA needs the support of the JDU as well. So clearly, there should be more allocation of important cabinet portfolios. At the same time, the JDU has said that they are not going to accept an alliance with the India grouping under any circumstances, even if the Deputy Prime Minister post is offered to Nitish Kumar. But let's wait and see what happens, because opposition, Rahul Gandhi has said that they will reach out to Nitish Kumar. Both Chandrababu Naidu and Nitish Kumar will be in this meeting, which is taking place at the Prime Minister's residence. In some time from now, there will be a crucial meet of India alliance partners, the likes of Uddhav Thackeray, Abhishek Banerjee, Sharad Pawar at the residence of Mallikarjun Kharge at Rajaji Marg in New Delhi. They will formulate their next election strategy. While the opposition, some in the opposition feel that yes, the opposition should take claim to form the government, there are leaders like Sachin Pilot who've been a little cautious with their words. They've only said there will be a coalition government, but let's not put the cart before the horse and take a call on who will actually form the government, because the India grouping on its own does not have the numbers, and they do need support of other alliance partners. So let's see what happens over the next few days. But clearly there will be a lot of tussle over the portfolios, and those conversations can be tense as well. But the BJP and NDA leaders confident of forming the government once again, and they've clearly said that NDA has been supported for a third time.
All right, Parikshit, many thanks for joining us. We will continue our election coverage right here on CNBC TV18. We'll be back in a moment. Don't go anywhere. Odisha's long-standing Chief Minister Naveen Patnaik has resigned after the BJD fell significantly short of the majority mark with only 51 seats. Patnaik submitted his resignation to the Odisha Governor Raghubir Das at Raj Bhavan in Bhubaneswar. BJP will now form its maiden government in the state after bagging 78 seats in the 147-member assembly. Well, the election results did come as a shock to a majority of pollsters who had predicted a BJP sweep and a decimation of the opposition. On the contrary, several prominent cabinet ministers, including the likes of Smriti Irani and Rajiv Chandrasekhar, have had to face defeat. Hormuz joins us now to take a look at some of the key ministers who lost the electoral battle. Hormuz.
Well, it was a forgettable day for a lot of the cabinet ministers yesterday as the election results kept trickling in, and almost a half a dozen or at least a dozen cabinet ministers lost their seats when they were at the seats that they were contesting. And the biggest casualty came from Amethi, where Smriti Irani, the Women and Child Development Minister, lost to Congress's Kishori Lal Sharma by nearly 2 lakh votes, almost 1.7 lakh votes there. She had won this seat in 2019 by a margin of over 55,000 votes. That was the big news from the election results in Amethi. The other one being Rajiv Chandrasekhar. There was a lot of fight. It was a very close contest in Thiruvananthapuram against Shashi Tharoor. Rajiv Chandrasekhar was leading for most parts of the counting, but then Shashi Tharoor eventually prevailing in a close contest by over 16,000 votes there as well. Now Arjun Munda, who is the Minister of Tribal Affairs, Agriculture and Family Welfare, he was contesting from Khunti in Jharkhand, and he lost to Kalicharan Munda by a very decisive 1.5 lakh votes. And Arjun Munda had won this seat in 2019 by one of the lowest margins in the election. That was almost 1450 votes only. So that was a very decisive mandate there as well. Ajay Mishra Teni was in the news for the wrong reasons ahead of the elections. MOS Home, of course, fighting from Lakhimpur Kheri, lost to Utkarsh Verma of Samajwadi Party by over 34,000 votes, and he had won this seat in 2019 by over 2 lakh votes. So there another casualty there as well. Mahendranath Pandey, the Minister of Heavy Industries, contesting from Chandauli. He lost to Samajwadi Party's Birendra Singh, and he lost by around 21,000 votes, and even he had won this seat in 2019 by a very narrow margin of almost 14,000 votes there. RK Singh, the Power Minister, losing from Ara. He lost to Sudama Prasad of the CPI ML Liberation, lost by close to 60,000 votes. He had won in 2019 pretty decisively by over 1.5 lakh votes as well. Sanjeev Balyan from Muzaffarnagar as well lost by 24,000 votes, and he had won in 2019 by only 6,500 votes as well. Some other ministers who lost was Kaushal Kishore, MOS Housing from Mohanlalganj, Subhash Sarkar from Bankora, Bhagwant Khuba from Bidar, Kailash Chaudhary from Barmer, and of course Nishit Parmanik from Cooch Behar, and Subhash Bhamre as well, the MOS Defence. He also lost his seat from Dhule. So a very forgettable day for a lot of the cabinet ministers as well. Back to you.
Well, that is the nature of politics. loss and defeat. I guess you will have to take that in your stride. Hormuz, many thanks for joining us. With that, it is time for us to wrap up this edition of Business 360. Before we go, here's a quick note, a daily wrap of the top headlines will hit your inbox every day before we call it a night. CNBC-TV18's daily newsletter on LinkedIn featuring the top 10 stories of the day. Markets, corporates, economic updates, financial highlights, all of that and more. Subscribe now and get the CNBC-TV18 edge. We're back in a moment.